Hi, I'm David Wovrosh, attorney with the Legal Aid Society's Low Income Taxpayer Clinic, and we're continuing our video series on tax fundamentals with perhaps the most important topic of all, the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. This is a set of fundamental rights that every taxpayer has under the tax code, even those who don't file a tax return. There are 10 taxpayer rights. I'm here to talk with you today about these rights and what they mean for you. But before we get started, I'd like to remind you that you can type your questions into the chat box at any time. We'll answer them in the chat. So let's get started with the first right, which is the right to be informed. You have a right to know what the tax laws are and how to follow them. This means clear explanations in anything that the IRS sends you. This means that the IRS will put out publications on tax topics and instructions for their forms. This also means that you have a right to a clear explanation of the outcome of any tax decision about your return. The second right is the right to have quality service. And this means that you have the right to prompt and professional assistance anytime that you contact the IRS. The IRS should be clear and easy to understand in their letters to you, and they should be helpful and professional when you contact them. And when the IRS falls short, you have the right to be heard about inadequate service. The third right is the right to pay no more than the correct amount of tax. You have the right to not pay a cent more than you have to under tax law. This also means that you have the right to ensure that the IRS applies all of your tax payments correctly and that you receive the proper refund that you are owed. The fourth right is the right to challenge the IRS and be heard. You have the right to challenge an IRS decision about your taxes. If you receive an audit letter, or if the IRS makes a decision about your taxes and you don't agree with them, you have the right to challenge the IRS. You can do this by sending an additional documentation to explain why you believe that they're wrong. And you have the right to get a quick and fair response from the IRS. Now, what happens when you don't agree with their decision? That's the fifth right, the right to appeal an IRS decision in an independent forum. If the IRS makes a decision about your taxes, you have the right to appeal it. You can go to the IRS Independent Office of Appeals, which can review the decision that the IRS made. You can also file a petition in the United States Tax Court and have the tax court make a decision on your taxes. The sixth right is the right to finality. You have the right to know how long you have to challenge an IRS decision. You also have the right to know how long the IRS can audit a particular year, and if they do audit you, when the audit is complete and what the outcome is. The seventh right is the right to privacy. The right to privacy means that IRS collection activities must be limited, and they must respect your privacy and boundaries to the fullest extent of the law. The IRS must give you an opportunity to be heard about their collection activities so you can prevent the IRS from overstepping these boundaries. The eighth right is the right to confidentiality. Now, dealing with the IRS means talking about personal and sensitive information. This right simply means that the IRS cannot disclose your confidential personal information unless you allow them to. It also means that the IRS will investigate and take action against those who do disclose this information without your permission. The ninth right is the right to retain representation. Dealing with the IRS can be difficult, and unfortunately, it can be complicated. Fortunately, you have the right to retain someone to represent you before the IRS. This can be an attorney, a CPA, or an enrolled agent. If you have a tax dispute with the IRS, Legal Aid's Low Income Taxpayer Clinic may be able to help you. The last right is the right to a fair and just tax system. The right to a fair And just tax system means that you can expect that the tax system will consider all relevant facts of your situation when they arrive at a decision about your taxes. It also means that you have the right to receive assistance through the Taxpayer Advocate Service, an independent watchdog agency in the IRS that can help you if any of the IRS systems don't function the way that they are supposed to. Now, these Taxpayer Bill of Rights are important, but unfortunately, there are situations where the IRS does not live up to these standards. Keep in mind, one of the most important rights is the right to representation. If you have a tax issue with the IRS, Legal Aid's Low Income Taxpayer Clinic may be able to assist you. You can call us at 513-241-9400. We'll also be putting a copy of this Taxpayer Bill of Rights into the chat. Make sure you check it out. And keep in mind, we're going to be continuing Facebook live chats dealing with important tax topics. So make sure you follow us on social media at Cincy Legal Aid. See you soon.